Dude, I'm super excited to have Arturo Johnson with us today. Not only because he's an awesome guy and you're going to love hearing what he has to say, but also because we got a little bit of like a battle of the studios going on over here. We leveled up our studio over at Kixie. And then the next thing I know, I jump on a call with this guy and he's redoing his whole studio. It looks even sicker than ours. Like, it's fantastic. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing phenomenal. Excited to be here. And I know this was going to be good because I had to work really, really hard to get this to work today. And it's just the entrepreneur side of perseverance that, sometimes you got to go a little bit harder than you thought. It's going to cost a little bit more. It's going to take a little bit longer and it's going to be a little bit harder than you thought. And so with that, knowing that resistance, this is going to be a game changer. So I'm excited.
100%. And what I like about Arturo is it's not like he hired help. It's not like he went out and got someone to build this thing for him. He himself this morning is spending all of his time buying all this lighting, doing the whole thing up himself, like rolling up his sleeves and getting to work. Even after all these years of building a successful business, at this point, he's got VAs, he got people that can help him. He's still like doing it himself, which I love.
Yeah, for sure. It's, taking pride in kind of what you're doing. A lot of times when we get to a certain place, we feel like we're too good to do stuff sometimes. And it's really that having that servant mentality, like a servant first, right? And so just really trying to stay focused and locked in and master my craft. And again, if you have hands-on, usually your clients are getting the best results, your business is getting the best results, right? Mm-hmm. Everything kind of moves through that principle. So yeah, man, excited to hop right in.
Yeah. And the great news is if you're leading a group of people like Arturo is, like, them seeing your willingness to roll up your sleeves and do something like that and not say that you're too good for it, that's the kind of messaging you want to push down. Because think about how terrible it is to have a manager who's like, oh, I'm too good for the work I'm asking you to do. It's like, oh, so you're just better than me? I mean, it's a crazy thing. So many of us do it, I think, in management without thinking about it. But when you do think about it, it's like, oh man, that's a terrible message to send to the people who work under me. Like, I should show a willingness to do the same sort of work I'm asking them to do. You know what I mean?
It's kind of like whatever everybody's doing, you want to try to figure out what they're doing and kind of do the opposite. Everybody's trying to automate everything, and there's not a lot of human element into things. So when you put a personalized touch to it, people will remember that. And it's really not about the result that they get. Sometimes it's about the intent that you have, right? Because even if you fall short, like I run a lead generation company, and not every single one of my clients get phenomenal results, but they will give me some grace because my intent for them to get results is they know that my intent for them, right, is that my whole team's going all in for them, that they know for a fact that I care just as much about their successes as I do.
I love it. And let's talk a little bit about what you do right now. So everyone knows me. I'm the head of sales for Kixie, but they probably don't know you. Like, what do you do right now? And why am I so excited to talk to you? Because let me tell you, I am. Like, Arturo has been a huge person at like a number of the events we go to, like Cody Askins in the insurance space. He's known for running a really successful lead gen company. So tell them about your company and what you do.
Yeah, so specifically, my business is a mastermind program with a done-for-you lead generation funnel attached to it. So I'm not a lead vendor in any sense. This is a mastermind program that's a monthly program where we build systems for life insurance agents to bring them the highest intent and highest quality prospects to talk to that are open, willing, and excited about having a conversation around life insurance, right? And so with that, we're using the funnel to try to drive a ton of leads with intent, right? Because we don't need more leads. We need more people that are open to having a conversation and not having to convince people. We don't want to talk to people that are open to having a conversation. We don't get burnout from servicing people. We get burnout from wasting our time chasing people, trying to care more about their financial futures than they do. And that's what we get tired of doing because we feel like we're wasting our time. So with that, I stopped just generating leads and start building systems to make sure that we have people that had higher intent. And so with that,
I love that.
So with that piece, over time, we kind of restructured the way we were doing things. And so since 2019, we've been helping probably over 1,200 agents at this point to date.
That's great, man. That's huge. I mean, think about that. 1,200 agents. And you didn't wake up one morning and suddenly you've got a studio to put together. You're being asked to go on webinars or speaking at major insurance events, and you got 1,200 people underneath you. Like, you got there through some hard work and some grind. So I kind of want to, before I even dive into more about what you're doing now, I want to back up a little bit, because I think someone sees someone like you on a podcast and their immediate thought is like, well, dude, that's going to, how long is it going to, how am I ever going to get there? This guy's got all these resources. He's got all these people interested in him. He's got all this, money flowing in from the clients he has. Like, I don't have any of that, but you didn't have any of that either. And you had a pretty rough start getting up and running for all this thing. So like, can you take us through that? Like, how do you get to a place where you are speaking at major events and you have 1,200 people reporting underneath you and you are like known within the insurance community?
Yeah. So a couple of just things I want to distinguish is I am not an active licensed life insurance agent at the moment. So I am the guy to help them get to where they go. I'm the bridge between, spending hundreds and thousands of dollars on dead end leads and not getting their clients and churning out of the business, defaulting, having credit card debt. I'm the bridge that is the person who they were, which is, buying leads, hoping that this was going to be the next source that was actually going to get me to where I wanted to get, only to dial through maybe 1 to 10 of them to just be like, man, this happened again, and go through that vicious cycle.
Is that the worst?
Yeah. And just never get, never have the success that I heard about, right? Which is the insurance industry making as many millionaires as it has. And then one day I was just like, man, every time I ask somebody about how to solve this problem, which is how do I get in front of more qualified people give me the same 3 answers. And I'm like, those haven't worked for me. So I'm like, well, I need to try to figure this out. So as an insurance agent, I got licensed back in 2004, the first time. Mm-hmm. And I was working for Aflac selling accidental and cancer policies. And I was still waiting tables, just trying to figure it out. I had this entrepreneur spirit. I was waiting tables, but I wasn't making, maybe $500 a week or something like that. I was just barely getting by.
Right.
So I sought to go after, to get into the insurance industry, because one of my friends, she came to work one day and she was doing insurance during the day, and then she would come and change it to her apron. And I noticed that she had a business. I noticed how everybody looked at her, and I didn't know what she did, but the perception of how she was in her uniform, as opposed to when she was in her business suit, I knew that I wanted that. So obviously, I asked her what she did. She said, yeah, I do X, Y, and Z. It was very, very vague. And then I went to this Monday morning meeting, which happened to be a recruiting meeting, right? Again, every person in the industry, for the most part, gets recruited in. And that's how I kind of cut my teeth. But I like to say insurance has been in my blood, because my mother used to tell me the story all the time. When she was a kid, my grandfather, we called him Big Dad. Every time they would go to the drive-in, for y'all that are young, y'all probably don't know this, but there's a place where you could go for really cheap to watch a movie. You would stay in your car, you would put the speaker in your car, and you could listen to the movie and bring your own snacks. Well, my grandfather always had to make a stop before they went to the drive-in. And that's when I realized my grandfather was a debit man. So I like to say that insurance has always been in my blood. And so, so anyway, so through my journey, I was just like, all right, I need to figure this out. I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out. So it obviously didn't work for me because I wasn't 100% in. So I waited tables for about another 8 to 10 years. And then around 2012, I got licensed again with a college friend. And that's when I realized
what changed?
What
made you finally snap and be like, dude, no more, I need to commit to this thing 100%. No more waiting tables. I want to fucking make an investment in myself.
Well, I mean, it was, so I was providing an experience and I was making an impact, but it was on such a small level that people were getting a small result, but it wasn't fulfilling for me. Right. All of the skills that I have to date all came from waiting tables. Quick relationships, learning how to communicate, solve problems in your business, put out fires, learning how to deal and work with all kinds of people, front house, back house, and clients, dealing with controversy, dealing with conflict, right? All these things, managing all of this stuff. So those skill sets allowed me to be a great entrepreneur. But the problem was the impact that I was having was just serving food that was, at a point. If you've ever went to a restaurant and had a bad experience, or if you've ever waited tables, having tough people to deal with to serve food to. People go out to dinner and lose their mind. They leave their manners at home when they go out to dinner sometimes.
Yes. And by the way, anyone watching this who recruits or hires salespeople, people with service backgrounds like that are fantastic because you have to deal with so many rough personalities, people who feel like they're entitled to stuff from you, like they own your time and your attention. Like if you can survive doing waiting tables for 8 to 10 years, you can make sales happen. You know what I mean? You can deal with an angry customer every so often on the phone. It's a great skill set to have.
That's
100%.
so true. So true. So to answer your question though, what changed? So
Yeah.
I remember when I was at Aflac, I had this mentor and I didn't know at the time, but shout out to Wes Hudnall from Arkansas. I'll never forget him.
Yeah.
And he gave me these CDs at this time of Jim Rohn. Now at this time, I didn't listen to them at all. Right.
Yeah.
What he was trying to do was he was trying to just like insinuate and say to me I needed to do some personal development, but I didn't listen to him. I just, was faking until I make it. Well, come 2012, I just pop on YouTube and I hear this motivational speak from this guy that is just probably just has this magical way with words. And he hit me with like a ton of bricks. And one of the quotes that he has is don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills. Right?
Ooh, I love that.
Wish it was easier, wish you were better. And when I heard that, that hit me like a ton of bricks. But the thing is I was like, man, I heard this before. This guy sounds so familiar. And it wasn't until I just kept watching some of his videos and I started focusing on personal development, I realized that I had heard that before because Wes had played the tapes in his car before he gave them to me almost a decade ago. And life's funny like that, right? You know what I mean? So that's what changed for me.
That's amazing. Sometimes we get advice like that and we're just not receptive at the time. But if that advice can hit us at the right time, it's like all of a sudden we're actually open to it and we can actually utilize it and make a change because of it. And you're absolutely right. I mean, I love the quote, the idea of like, don't wish for less problems, wish for more skills to deal with them. Because I think so often we do that in life. We're like, oh, I wish I didn't have to struggle with this. I wish I had more money. I wish I had a boss who was easier. I wish, all this kind of stuff, as opposed to saying, I wish I had the skills to earn more money right now. I wish I had the skills to deal with a boss like this. I wish I had the skills to and that's what you really want. Cause guess what? There's going to be more problems down the road. If a genie were to grant you that wish and make that boss super nice, well, that's not the last boss you're ever going to have. But if that genie granted you the wish and gave you the skill to deal with that boss, that skill is going to carry over to boss number 3, 4, 5, like going forward, right? Like that skill is something you'll have no matter what happens to you, which is so important. So, okay, I love it. So you finally receptive to this and you decide you're going to go all in. And so you get into insurance.
Yeah. So I'm still waiting tables and I'm trying to do the waiting tables at night from 4 to 10 p.m. And then during the day, probably like 10 to maybe like 2:30 or 3 o'clock, I'm trying to sling insurance. And I just keep remembering this thing that he's saying in his mind, which is don't focus on the money that you can make, focus on the person that you can become. And he said, in order for things to change, you got to change. And that's really what I was kind of seeking. So I found a mentor that told me through the vehicle of insurance that I can become this person that I wanted to be. So that was really what I was looking for in hindsight is through insurance. I was looking for somebody to mentor me because I had all this potential, had all this curiosity. I knew I had these raw skills, but I didn't know what to do with them. And I needed to find somebody that had the success that I was attracted to and then have them teach me something. So through doing that.
So did you go up to him? Did you go up and find a mentor yourself?
Yeah. So one of my friends that I went to college with, it was his mentor. And so when he introduced me to insurance again in 2012, the only reason why I took it is because he kept talking about his mentor. Right. So I was like, okay, in order for me to get what this guy has, I have to do what he's doing to get to this guy. So I'm in.
Yep.
Right.
Dude, that's fantastic. I think a lot of us wait for, we say, okay, this guy got a mentor. He got a lucky break. We'll say like, oh, lucky break. Yeah, sure. He got this hot shot who took him under his wing and made him better. But a lot of the time, the mentors don't find you. If you're sitting around waiting for a mentor to pop into your life and help you progress to the next level, you're going to be waiting a while. It's probably not the best strategy. I like what you did, which is that you had a clear vision of where you wanted to go. And you look to your right and look to your left and you're like, getting a mentor. That seems to be the key here. And then you went out and found a mentor as opposed to waiting for one to just drop into your lap and help you along.
Yeah. So the first mentor that I officially had was Jim Rome. So he was my digital mentor. That's what happened. And what Jim Rome allowed me to do was to have some optimism for the future. Not my current circumstance where I was in an apartment that had an air mattress in it, or I was waiting tables and barely getting by. He gave me this positive outlook on life that got me excited again, right? That I was like, oh, I still have time. I can still make something of myself. So then one of the quotes he said is he said, success is for the searchers, right? It's seeking ye shall find. So the principle is if you search long enough, eventually you'll find it. Like nobody's gatekeeping it from you. You just haven't done a thing long enough. So I'm like, oh, okay. So I just listened to him every single morning, right? And had this optimistic, like, man, I cannot wait until my opportunity comes for me to find my mentor, and I'm going all in on it, right? So that's how I woke up every day, kind of expecting that, listening to that, and just like, I'm ready. And so when my friend reached out to me, I was like, okay, this is it, right? And so that's really how I got back in the second time. And so that's how I ended up realizing that, oh, insurance, this is why I left a lot. This is why I left 10 years ago. I'm having the same problem. I don't have enough qualified people to talk to. I've got a choice between $10 today for gas to go all the way out here and door knock in the heat, or get a sandwich and a banana from the gas station. And I'm like, man, wouldn't it be awesome if I could flip the tables, and if people could come to me, if I could have people chasing me instead of the other way around, right? So so that was kind of my thing, is like, why can't we have it the other way? And every time I asked somebody a question, they just couldn't fathom it.
Isn't that funny? Everyone's been stuck in that mindset for so long about needing to chase after leads, and also the idea that more leads is better. More leads is better. More leads is better. And you decided to take a different track, like entirely. So what did that look like? Like trying to kind of redefine this whole paradigm of you needing to chase after qualified leads as opposed to qualified leads coming to you.
Yeah. So so when I got back into insurance, I was probably early 30s, probably like 30 or 31. So a lot of the time, a lot of people that was at my agency, they were like in their 20s. So they didn't have life experience. So they would just drink all the Kool-Aid and then just run through a wall. But I just had a lot of questions because I had already seen this movie before. And I'm like, well, why does it keep ending this way? Like, why does the character do this? Why does every time the killer comes, she trips and falls over the same thing? So I was like, well, I'm not tripping over that, right? So I'm like, okay. Well, so I asked the top producer, I was like, how much you doing? He was doing about 30 grand a month. I was like, well, how long have you been there? He was like 7 years. Graduated from Vanderbilt. Very, very smart, accomplished dude. Looked up to him. And I was like, man, I want to be doing that, right, in 1 year. And you know what I mean? And so he was doing 300 grand a year. And I was like, okay, I want to be doing that in a month. And so I was like, well, I got 7 years to have this life if I do this way. But I want to do what he's doing in a month, and I want to do it in the next 12 months. So my question, so then it was like, well, I don't have a couple of things. I need leverage, and I need quality people to come to me. So one day in December, I just got fed up. I was like, I'm not going out to waste my gas to go all the way to an appointment to be no-show from a business owner. So I pulled out my phone, and I'm like, well, there's 2 billion people on this app every single day. And the chances are, I went to college here. There's a medical college across the street. Chances I know some of these people who are my ideal customers. So I just started connecting and DMing people and having conversations that way. The next month, I was the #1 agent with appointments and sales from my phone.
Really?
From the 2.5 hours that I just sent out DMs and responded to people on my phone. The next month I had so much activity. Now, again, I booked probably 60 meetings from that strategy. And probably kept like 45 meetings. So I generated like 45 booked appointments. But they were so quality that my upline started coming and helping me close some of the deals. So that's when I realized I had something. I was like, okay, so social media is the leverage. Now the problem that I have is I need leverage because I can't keep up with the inboxes. So I need something to automate this process. So that's when I started searching for that. And I used LinkedIn and this automation tool called LinkedIn Helper at the time. But then I got banned because it was a Chrome extension. So then I had to come back to Facebook again and use Facebook ads instead. And I bought a course from Sam Ovens, the Godfather Coaching. Shout out to my man Sam Ovens. He absolutely 100% changed my life. And so he taught me digital marketing and how to use Facebook advertising. And that's when it clicked. So I was like, now I can get as many leads as I want.
Isn't that fantastic? So everyone out here listening to this, you think you don't have resources. You're like, oh, I don't have a pile of money. I don't have connections. I don't have a mentor. I don't have all this stuff. And right there, you actually have something really valuable. You have leverage in your phone right now. Inside your phone, you have the ability to contact and DM a ton of people through social media. You have a lot of connections. You have people you've known through the years, and you have familiarity with the area that you lived and grown up in, or that you've worked around. You know what I mean? And all those are really important points of leverage that you have that someone else doesn't, that you can take advantage of. And you did in an afternoon, which is amazing.
Yeah. So after that 30 days of like blowing up these appointments, I had another guy under my wing. They had a convention. So all the top producers left. And so I was the big dog at that time that had to like go do, we called it joint work, was like kind of like a ride along. So I helped this guy close a couple of deals. And then once I realized, I was like, wait a minute, everybody in here has potential to be my client. And that's when I was like, okay, I am no longer, I'm going to stop being an insurance agent and I'm going to be Sam Ovens, right? And that's when I was like, these people here are going to end up being my clients. So like my first 10 clients were all people that I used to work with as colleagues. It just took off from there.
Isn't that great? I love that. And like, do you think that without the life experience you had, you would have been able to have the courage or the self-belief to start your own thing at that point?
Well, just to be 100% transparent. So I had it wasn't the worst upbringing, but like just a tough life growing up as a kid. We moved probably like 10 to 20 times, at least once every year, something like that. And then my mom, shout out to my mom though. She was a single mom. She was a nurse. She worked 7 to 11 and then 11 to 7. So she was always working, and we had enough to get by. And she worked so hard that I was able to get a good education and all these things. But the thing was the adversity of all these things of like paying this bill and using Robin Peter to pay Paul and just like making it work with nothing. I knew that once I had something to work with, when I had the actual materials that I thought and saw that everybody else had, that I was going to be unstoppable because we were making it work with nothing. Right. So, so the whole point to that though is the principle is adversity breeds opportunity. Right. And so all of the stuff that people are going through that's your opportunity to get better. You go to the gym and you can't lift something and you're having pain in your muscle. That's a signal that you need to get stronger, right? If you're having this thing over here, it's a principle that applies that this is an opportunity for you to get better and stronger. And so as I started to acquire these skills from self-belief and self-education, I just started to really flourish. And overnight success is 20 years in the making, right? I struggled for so long. I was ready because I had so much practice doing it wrong.
Totally. Well, and there's your quote again, right? Your quote about not wishing for less problems, wishing for more skill. If you had wished for less problems growing up, you wouldn't be the man you are today, right? You wouldn't have the skill set.
The wrong. I was like, oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. I'm expecting everything externally to change, which it's not going to, and I don't have any control over that. Or I can change in here and in here. And then these things are contributing factors, but they're not determining factors.
I love that. You're right. 100%. They're contributing, but they're not determinative. And you need to have faith that even if the external is taking a while to change, if you're getting better and better, eventually that success is going to come. And when it does, it seems like it probably does come faster than you think it will. Like you leveled up quick. Once you had the opportunity and the resources behind you, you were off and running.
Yeah, well, it was just because if I have survived, like I'm still here, so I have survived all of this. Like
Yeah.
eventually, if I can kind of put it all together just a little bit, when I have been putting together without everything connecting, like oh yeah, this is gonna get fun. But again, I had to be optimistic about it as opposed to just continue to
Yep.
look backwards and like, man, I got a tough run of it. Man, everybody thinks negative about me because of the way I look. And those things
Yep.
are, again, contributing, but they weren't determining. I was like, oh, but if I can get to this, I can start to make an impact. And then I could change the perception of other people that like, oh, people start looking at things different. So it was quite the journey.
It's cool. And what it's so fun to see that, to hear that backstory and to see you now, because I've seen you speak to big groups. Now you are the mentor motivator for all these other young people that are where you were way back then and now trying to come up the way. Isn't that fun? I love how that happens. You know what I mean? Because that's the best mentors are the ones who have been through all of the crap that the people who are struggling have been through. They're not the people who had everything handed to them and like their dad was in insurance and they handed a business and they're great. The people who are the best mentors are the people who it's like, you really worked your way up and it has been tough, especially for people who are working their way up right now and are having a tough time.
Yeah, for sure. And again, I always like, so since Jim Rohn motivated me, that was the thing that I wanted to be was the motivational speaker. But the challenge that I
Yep.
had was motivations here. You're like, okay, this guy's got a good quote, but what has he done in the business
Yeah.
world to have success? So my journey was kind of roundabout to get the success through the journey of solving this problem as for myself as a life insurance agent. And then double
Yep.
back now, I have everybody's attention and I, get their attention with the leads, but it's all personal developed systems and motivation.
100%. So let's lean into what you're doing now because I love it. Like on the Kixie side, we're just a calling and texting tool. So we're like, okay, you get 10 leads, you get 100 leads. We're going to let you dial 10 at a time, or we're going to let you dial them and have your calls not show up as spam or automatically log in the CRM. But I think you made a great point, which is I don't care how many leads you're dialing. If they're bad leads with no intent, that's not going to translate to anything except frustration. And worse still, you might think you've got so many leads, you need to hire some people. And then now you've got expenses. You've hired some people to call VAs or whatever. And now the leads are also bad. And so now you've paid for the leads. That's a sunk cost. You paid for all these employees to call the leads. That's a sunk cost. And there's no intent. So they're not buying anything. Now you're really screwed. So how did you turn that paradigm on its head? And what do you do now to help people avoid that?
So again, what we try to do is we try to focus on the highest intent. So most insurance agents are trying to get 100 leads for $10, right? Put $1,000 in, get 100 leads for
Yep.
$10. And then once they get that, then they're like, okay, how can I get these leads for $5? Right? So they can get
Yeah.
twice as many leads, which is kind of the opposite of efficiency, right? Which is you're going to do
Yeah.
twice the amount of work to get to the end result. When I'm like, well, let's start with the end in mind of like, if we can go from 2 sales to 4 sales and not have to talk to as many people, like that's where the efficiency and the ROI is going to come from on the conversion side. So we just started at
Yep.
the end, which is like, how do we just get in front of the hottest low hanging fruit of people that are just ready to talk and ready to book? Now I'm like, well, if they go through this process and they self book themselves, right? They
Yeah.
watch the video, they sold on the process, they fill out some information, then they fill out an AI survey, which is putting their information in again. Then they go to a calendar and put their information in again. That's 3 times and book
Yeah.
themselves. I mean, it doesn't get any more qualified than that. Now, again, that's more difficult than it sounds, but that process, would you agree that that's somebody that's probably interested in having a conversation or curious about whatever it is that you have to offer?
Oh, 100%. You got a person chasing you now rather than the other way around. That's a total flip. And what's so funny is I think most people will be terrified of doing that. They'd be like, oh man, if I put up these barriers, I'm going to get less leads. I don't want to do that. I just want all the leads. But you made a great point. Like the one resource that you don't have control over is your time. That's like finite. You only have so much time. So if you flood that zone, you flood your time with a bunch of crap leads. That's a terrible way to spend your days. And it's going to burn you out probably.
So I think that the paradigm shift that we had to make is we're going for the highest quality. That's like, you don't need more leads, right? You don't need more people to
Yeah.
chase after. You need more high intent folks. And so that's really what we're trying to do. So with that being said, we're still preaching the same thing, which is proficiency focusing on your profits and your ROI, not how much the cost per lead is, because everybody's bought crappy leads before that were $2, $1.50. They don't convert. They're beat up, right? And so if you can spend 20 to 30 bucks for that lead, and then if let's just say you got 10 of them and you close 2 sales from it, now you have more purchasing power to buy more of the high intent leads, right? And so that's really what we're trying to get people to understand, that it's not about how many leads you get, right? It's about the intent in the leads that you actually have.
Totally. Because let's say you bought 100 leads for $10 and that takes you all day to call them, a whole day, 8 hours of dialing or something like that. And so many people are like, how do I get those same 100 leads for $5? Okay, you saved $5, but now you spent 8 hours of your day dialing leads that are probably half as good to save $5. Is 8 hours of your time worth $5? Like, probably not. I would love to value our time at more than $5. So like, again, yeah, I think you nailed it. The race to the bottom in terms of spend on leads, that's not the real thing that you need to be worried about. You need to worry about those 8 hours of your day you're spending dialing leads that aren't going anywhere. That's the really valuable resource you have that you're wasting if you're not. I'd rather have 3 good leads, spend 30 minutes with each of them and really have deep conversations. And then, like you said, make some money off it. Use those to buy more good leads. Like, I think that's the paradigm people need to get into.
Yeah. It's interesting. The younger guys get it because they are like, I want the Lambo, I want the penthouse, I want this, and I want it. I don't want to wait till I'm 65 and retire with others. They want it now. So they don't really care about how many leads it is. They want to work 4 hours a day, and then they want to go post on social that they made $2,000-$3,000 in a day, and then that they're doing something cool. So they make my job a lot easier because we call them Garys. The older guys, they still stuck in, well, I used to do it this way, and I've been in business for 30 years. And so we're kind of reshaping those beliefs because, again, they have more knowledge than the younger guys, but we just have to do a little bit more shifting into, like, there's a new approach to doing this that you can really run it up if you apply this to all the experience that you have. Because most of these guys have written more insurance than 5 to 10 young ages. But the young ages are like, all right, but tell me exactly what I need to do. This is the system. I can get this done in 4 hours instead of 10 hours dialing all day. Let's plug it into this to Kixie, and then let's cook.
Yeah, we are on the same thing. So tell me, are you guys finding success with Kixie with your teams?
So what I've noticed is ever since whatever you all did to change Kixie in the last 6 to 12 months and the connection boost, it has increased probably like 20 to 30% of the pickup and appointment ratios for the majority of our clients. And again, I probably worked with 1,200 agents, and the ones who actually listen to us the first time always have success when they first start our program. And then some people kind of bump their head because they're still doing it from their cell phone, and they're like, oh, it's the leads. I'm like, well, it's not the leads. You just don't know that your number's going to spam. And so all the other things you have on the back end, but that feature alone has helped our clients so much, tremendously, that anybody that's using it, would have glowing reviews that we talk to and help on a daily basis.
Dude, I love hearing that because I'm in this game for the same reason you are, which is I love helping people find their own success and build a living for themselves and be able to support themselves and build a family, buy a home, all like that. That's the kind of stuff I really take pride in and I carry with me, and I know you do too. So I love hearing that. Before we run out of time, I want to make sure that we give people a good opportunity to get a hold of you and take advantage of what you offer, because I think this is going to land with 2 different people. I think there's a subset of people, like you mentioned, that are young, that are open to new experience. They're going to take your advice. But also, I know there's a lot of insurance people out there who are finding it more and more difficult these days to find success because of the stuff you mentioned, like numbers showing up as spam and poor leads, people, really bad lead vendors these days. Like, I want to encourage those guys to reach out to you too, because it's never too late to like re-up your skills and to kind of reinvent yourself. You proved that already. And that seniority you have, that experience you have, is actually going to be an edge against those young guys, as long as you listen to someone like you and you take the advice and you do things the right way. You know what I mean? So how do they get in touch with you? How do they take advantage of your program?
Yeah, for sure. And so, again, the whole purpose of this podcast is just to give as much value and transparency as possible, because I technically don't have anything to sell, right? Our program is closed. So what we've done is we would allow people to discover us and lean in and listen. Follow us to see exactly who we are and what we're about, and then reach out, right? Like if you go to my website, ArturoJohnsonConsulting.com, and you go to our funnel and you try to click and book a call, you can't book a call, right? So what you have to do is you have to go to our Instagram and you have to follow me there on Arturo Johnson Consulting, so that you can hear, see, and listen to some of the results that our clients are getting. And then from there, you can reach out via DM. And the whole purpose of what we're doing is our goal is to help 1,000 life insurance agents to have a 6 and 7 figure business. And we're doing that one agent at a time.
Dude, I love that. And I encourage everyone to listen and follow Arturo, because I think it's invaluable. A lot of us need mentors in our lives, and it is so rare to run into one in person who's doing what you want to do and has built the life you want to build. If you find one like Arturo, like, follow him and listen to what he says. Every time I've heard you speak at conferences, it's absolutely amazing. It's banger. And I definitely want to get you back on the podcast too, so we can talk more about strategy and tactics, because I'm like watching time and we've run out, but there's so much more of like wisdom you have to share with everybody. And it's been such a pleasure having you on, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think that it's been a pleasure. This has been fun, and time flies when you're having fun. So definitely, would not be opposed to coming back and getting into the nitty gritty and nerding out about some technical details. But hopefully, somebody somewhere has been impacted by some of the words that I've said today.
100%, dude. I love it. That was great. I love the quotes you dropped, are so fantastic. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to have Radic, when he splices all this together, I want him to cut out some of those and make those snippets so you can post on social, because a lot of those are just fantastic quotes. You know what I mean? They're fantastic. Was there anything we didn't? Oh, dude, pleasure. Was there anything we didn't talk about that you wanted to cover that you're like, damn, I wish you'd asked me about this?
No, I think we covered everything. The main thing is if it's not working for you, continue to ask questions and continue to search and find somebody that's doing exactly what you want to do. Ask them how they did it, pay them for how they did it, or try to model what they're doing to have success, and then put the right people and the right systems in place. And those are the ingredients to have a successful life and business.